Sports Riot on SportsTownChicago.com.
What's up? This is the Friday Sports Riot on SportsTownChicago.com. I'm Ryan Hoppy.
And I'm Ryan Stuppridge.
Call the show, 630-403-5200. That's 630-403-5200. Okay, Ryan, enough of the shenanigans. Who is on the phone line right now?
From 670 The Score, we have Joe Ostrowski on the Illinois Center for Broadcasting hotline. What's up, Joe?
What's up, Riders? What shenanigans are going on over there at ITV?
Well, you
Things
know,
like that, like our thing going off.
Yeah.
Everything's been good, though, so we're happy to have you on the show again.
All right, good. What's on your mind today? What are you guys talking about?
So what is your take on the Blackhawks as they get by the Wild?
It wasn't much of a series, I don't think, no matter what they try to tell you, and even though they did lose those first two road games.
Yeah.
And again, Blackhawks fans are freaking out about Corey Crawford, even though they're scared to admit it. But last year in the Cup run, and this year so far, over the last two seasons in the playoffs, they have the best goalie in the entire NHL, and
Yes.
they want to blame him for every single loss, even though when they do lose, when he's in net, when he does have a bad night, they're not scoring, but nobody wants to bring that up. But yeah, aside from that, just finally, I feel like we've been waiting for the Ducks and Kings to end for a damn week already. We're going to find out tonight who their opponent is, and I don't think it really matters who the opponent is. It's going to be up to the Hawks whether they advance to the Stanley Cup Finals or not.
Well, isn't it a good thing that the Ducks and Kings are going to go to a Game 7 since it gives the Hawks more rest?
I guess. I would think that's what most Hawks fans did want more than anything. They wanted those teams to go to a Game 7 like the Wild and Avalanche did. They had to do the quick turnaround where they only had one day off in between and starting the Blackhawks series. And, guys, that may not show up on Sunday afternoon at 2 o'clock when they do drop the puck. It may show up in Game 2 or later on in the series where the legs of whoever they're playing is just dead. It's tough. It's an interesting debate of who they want to win. Does home ice really matter to the Blackhawks? You'd like to have it where it will go to Game 7. You'd like to have that game be at the United Center, so that means you'd want the Kings to win. But time has proven that the better goalie we think is in L.A., but Gibson, this rookie, playing for Anaheim, he's played his ass off, and you could argue that he's been better than Quick. But I don't really think it matters. It just matters how the Hawks play. That depends if they're going to win or not.
Obviously Patrick Kane got that awesome overtime goal to beat the Wild. I mean, he's just a very good guy to have on your team, obviously. Do you think that he is the best in the game of hockey right now?
That's tough. A lot of people will argue Sidney Crosby.
Yeah.
But I'm seeing the Penguins get ousted early on.
Yeah.
It's so different. We've talked about this before. It's so different in hockey when you go 4 lines deep, a lot of the good teams do in the playoffs, as compared to basketball where you know your superstar is going to get the basketball at the end of the game. It's so difficult to compare, but what I talked about last night on my show and been debating with a lot of people on social media the last couple of days, I was surprised how many legs it had because a lot of people had strong opinions about it. I'm not saying he is. I'm just saying that you can make the argument that since Jordan left the Bulls in 1998, over the last 16 years, you can make the argument that the biggest superstar this town has seen is Patrick Kane.
Right.
Now, I'm going with Sammy Sosa, but you can go all over the map here. And I guess what that really tells us is that we haven't had a mega superstar that's above everybody else. There's a lot of people arguing for Urlacher. I heard even Hester's name brought up. Not counting Frank Thomas because he got his MVP when Jordan was here. People mentioning Paul Konerko, as I said, Sammy Sosa, of course, Derek Rose. But you could go really all over the map. But I think Patrick Kane's in that team picture. I'm not saying he's a better player than Jonathan Toews. Toews probably accomplished more, but the flash, the 4 playoff overtime goals that he's had to win games, I mean, it's really unreal what he's accomplished at 25 years old. I mean, guys, we could be sitting here in 2027, and Patrick Kane can still be on the Hawks.
Yeah. Joe, let's say the Hawks were to win the Cup this year. Where would this team rank all time? What's your take?
All time in what?
Like, for like other NHL teams. Like, where would they rank when it's all said and done?
Well, the standard they're trying to get to is Detroit Red Wings.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what they're trying to get to. They have a very, very long way to go. But you look at the people that are running the organization, and if you're a Hawks fan, you have to have a lot of confidence. You know they're only going to add to this team. Marian Hossa, I mean, he's a heck of a player now. He'll be leaving in a few years. He's just not the same player he once was at both ends of the ice, and you expect that, but they're going to continue to add to this team. It's not a Dale Talon situation where he put this club in a position where, well, we got to get rid of this guy, and this guy after the championship. No, they're very smart about the cap. John McDonough said on the Score yesterday that he expects to get new contracts for Kane and Taves. Each of those guys have 1 year left after this season on their deals. They're going to be around for a very, very long time, unless we're talking about the main pieces of this team having career-threatening injuries or concussion issues, something like that. They're going to be good for a very, very long time. But the bar is Detroit. That's what they want to be. It's not winning a couple titles here and then going away for a while and maybe winning another one in 10 years. They want to be in the mix every single season, and that is difficult to do in this sport.
And now let's talk about the NBA for a little bit. The Heat and Pacers are going to play, and the Thunder and Spurs are going to play. Obviously, these are the matchups that a lot of people wanted because a lot of people especially wanted to see Heat Pacers. Do you think that this game's going to go 6 or 7 games, or do you think the Heat have a chance to sweep the Pacers?
Yes, to all the above.
Yeah.
I don't know what the hell the Pacers are. Do you guys?
No, I'm not sure.
Go ahead, Hoppy.
Like, what is your take on Roy Hibbert, man? Like, one game, he does great, and then the other 7 games, he's not even there. Like, what is going on with Roy Hibbert? I'm so confused.
Hoppy, that's the key right there. You just said it, Roy Hibbert.
Yes.
Because all season, what the Pacers were talking about, even before the season started, we want the Heat Eastern Conference Finals. We want to match up with them. If we have home court, which they have, they got what they wanted, we think we can beat the Miami Heat. They have exactly what they wanted. It's just been a complete roller coaster ride. And Roy Hibbert is the guy that was brought up before the Pacers started to tumble. That's where they have the advantage over the Heat. He's the key. And now you look at this guy who, how many times has he thrown up goose eggs as far as points and rebounds? How can you have any confidence? I certainly lean closer to this series being over in a sweep or 5 games than 6 or 7, but the Pacers got exactly what they wanted here, and let's see what they can do with it. But if I'm putting any money down, it's on the Heat, and it's going to be a short series. But, guys, can I throw a question your way?
Yeah.
Because this is something I was thinking about, talking about on my show tonight, was that as we're sitting here in the middle of the playoffs for the NBA and the NHL, of course, it's what most people wanted, what most people expected for the NBA in the conference semifinal.
Yeah.
You have the 2 top seeds in each conference. Okay, cool. And that's usually how it works out in basketball. You have the best teams there at the end, and let's see what happens. And then in the NHL, you have, I think it's the top 6 teams in points that are already out. Top 6 in points in the regular season, they're already out of the playoffs here.
Right.
So you don't know what's going to happen from round to round. Really, anybody that makes the playoffs, you can get the hot goalie, you can go on and win the title here.
Yes.
What do you guys prefer? Do you prefer the teams that had the best record, were the best teams all season long, to be in the Final Four? Or do you prefer, every series you don't know what the hell's going to happen?
I kind of like it where every series you don't know what's going to happen. I mean, obviously I want, the Chicago teams to make it, dependent, and I don't really care if they're the top seed or low seed. I want them to go as far as possible. But, I mean, I kind of like when there's a lot of teams that are underdogs that sort of come through and then to make a good run. How about you, Ryan?
I like when you see the best teams with the best records make it, Joe, because for me, that's the best type of games that you will see. Games that will go to 7 games right down to the last minute. Wouldn't you agree, Joe?
Yeah, I'm with you, Ryan, actually. And I think this question probably really comes down to, are you more of a basketball fan or are you more of a hockey fan? 'Cause I think basketball fans want to see the stars at the very end. And, like, say in March Madness, I like some upsets, but I don't like too many upsets where we're just left with a bunch of double-digit seeds at the end. I do want to see the blue blood teams in the end, your Kentuckys, your UConns, and all that.
Yeah. Now, I want to get your take on this. Did you think that Kevin Durant should have been MVP? What was your take as he won his first MVP this year?
Oh, there was no question he should have been the MVP.
Yeah.
I think the trap people fall into every year with this debate is, well, if I'm throwing all the players into a ring, I want LeBron James. Well, of course you want LeBron James. Yeah. LeBron James is the most talented player in the world. And there's no general manager out there that would argue it. The Thunder GM would say, yeah, I'll take LeBron James over Kevin Durant. He would. There's no question about that. But that's not what the MVP is. It's about this specific season and what they did. Otherwise, why even play a season? Why even have a vote? Because then it's going to be LeBron James every time. Michael Jordan didn't win the MVP every season. He was the best player, the most talented player in the world those years, but it really comes down to what happens in the regular season. So Kevin Durant definitely should have gotten the MVP, and he earned it.
And real quick, who do you have coming out on top with the Thunder and Spurs series?
Oh, man, this is tough.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm looking at the Thunder-Clippers series, and how many times was it the Thunder winning the games?
Yeah.
Or was it the Clippers handing the games over? I mean, you could blame that entire series, certainly one game for sure, on Chris Paul.
Right.
A guy that's viewed as one of the top superstars in the league. Man, I keep counting out the Spurs every single season.
Exactly.
I think this is going to be the year where they fall back. You know, I'm going with the Spurs and the Heat, the final.
You have to, because Greg Popovich knows how to get this team ready. Like, I just don't trust in who's the coach of OKC.
Scott Brooks.
I just don't think he's that good of a coach. He does some bad things in the last few minutes of games. And I just don't think Russell Westbrook and Kevin Durant are meant to be, because they have some issues in the last minutes. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh, God.
I know.
I mean, Russell Westbrook is so talented, but it's so easy to hate him, and you get so frustrated.
I know.
Okay, great. Russell Westbrook scored 30 points. Well, Russell Westbrook had to take 30 damn shots to score 30 points. It's absolutely insane, and he's taking shots away from Kevin Durant.
Exactly.
He doesn't know his role. He's not a point guard. He's
way
a
too
shooting
cocky.
guard. It's just ridiculous, and he'll go after the game and say, well, Kevin tells me to keep being aggressive, keep being me, keep being aggressive. Well, he's going to end up losing them opportunities. And people are going to start saying, hey, Kevin Durant, you're such a superstar. When are you going to step up and win a championship here? You've been in the league a while. I see LeBron winning championships.
Yeah.
Well, Westbrook is a great talent, obviously the second best player on the team, but it's getting to a point where he's starting to hurt him.
Yeah, I also agree with that. And real quick, before we let you go, when are you next going to be on the radio on 670?
I'll be on. Well, I've been on the last couple nights, had a lot of fun, and I'll be on later tonight after exciting Sox-Astros baseball. I'm glad you guys didn't want to talk any baseball, because Hoppy told me in a text message maybe some baseball. I was like, nobody cares.
Right.
I mean, really, who's sitting there watching baseball right now? I'm still on my draft kind of come down. I'm coming down from that last weekend, which is very exciting for me, but I'm a draft nerd, and that, you know, we're sitting here in the middle of NBA, NHL playoffs. Nobody really cares about an average and below average baseball team.
And also, Ben Finfer wanted us to tell you that he says hi.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
Yeah.
But if you guys talk to him again, tell him I said hello as well.
Okay, we'll be sure to do that.
Sounds good, Joe. Have a good weekend, my man. And we'd love to have you on the Friday Sports Riot on SportsTownChicago.com again.
I love jumping on with the Riders, guys. Have a good weekend.
Thanks.
You too, Joe. And that was Joe Ostrowski. You can hear him tonight, right?
Yes, tonight on The Score.
Check it out. 670 The Score. If you have a radio in your car, and if you don't,
you can go to 670thescore.com.
And get with the times if you don't have a radio in your car.
And you can follow him at
Joe0670.
Yes.
Wow, we just said that in harmony. That took a lot of talent. All right. Before we go to a break and come back, close up shop, wrap up everything, what was your take on some of the things that Joe Ostrowski said?
Well, obviously, he's always really fun. He's one of our best guys that we interview for sure.
One of our favorite, honestly.
Because he always brings a lot of life to the interviews and everything. But, I mean, I like his point about the NBA, and I know you and him also agreed where you like to see the top teams play.
Because it's just like
in the playoffs, because it's more exciting because you get to see the top stars and everything play, which I understand that, but I also like a couple upsets.
Imagine if it was like Warriors Rockets in the finals.
Yeah.
That would have been fine. I would love to watch James Harden versus Curry. But if it's going to be like Memphis versus like the Bulls in the finals,
no, I don't want
let's just say
that.
That'd be atrocious.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't necessarily want that, but I do like a lot of upsets. I like upsets in all sports.
But
for instance,
I want to watch good product.
For instance, like, you know, last year in the playoffs when Memphis went all the way to the Western Conference Finals and lost to the Spurs, I thought that was really exciting. I was pulling for Memphis. I really wanted them to win, and then the good team that always wins happens to win again. And maybe that's because I have a little bit of angst from being a DePaul fan with college basketball that I just get so mad when I see all these good teams keep winning and winning. And Duke, Kentucky, Kansas. Why won't it stop? You know, North Carolina, UCLA, you know, all these teams, Michigan State. Just stop. Let DePaul have their chance, right?
Yeah.
Let these other schools have their chance. Eastern Illinois, Southern Illinois, Western Illinois. Let them all into the tournament.
But not the
Northwestern, yeah.
Even though they're 9 games under 500, and frankly, they don't deserve it.
The Friday Sports Riot on SportsTownChicago.com.